There comes a moment in every person's life when they finally realize that the greatest battle was never against the world. It was never against difficult circumstances, unfair people, or bad luck. The greatest battle has always been the one taking place within. Most people spend years trying to change their surroundings while ignoring the one thing they have complete authority over: themselves. They wait for better opportunities, more motivation, more confidence, or the perfect moment to begin. But life has a different lesson to teach. The person who learns to master themselves no longer depends on perfect conditions. They create progress regardless of the conditions. Most people believe their greatest obstacles exist somewhere outside themselves. They point to difficult circumstances, lack of opportunity, financial limitations, criticism from others, or unfortunate timing. While these challenges are real, they are rarely the deciding factor between success and failure. The true contest begins long before any external challenge appears. It starts in the quiet moments when your own thoughts begin to question your ability. Your fears convince you to wait, and your excuses offer comfortable reasons to remain exactly where you are. Long before the world says no, your own mind often whispers it first. If you cannot win that private battle, every public battle becomes infinitely harder. Fear is one of the most persuasive voices you will ever encounter. It doesn't usually arrive with dramatic warnings. Instead, it disguises itself as logic. It tells you that you should wait until you know more, until you have more money, until conditions improve, or until you feel completely confident. The problem is that confidence rarely arrives before action. Confidence is usually the reward for taking action despite uncertainty. Those who wait until fear disappears often spend years standing in the same place, believing they are preparing when they are actually postponing. Then there is doubt, another silent opponent that quietly steals potential. Doubt has a remarkable ability to make ordinary challenges appear impossible. It convinces talented people that they are not talented enough. It persuades intelligent people that they are not intelligent enough. It causes capable individuals to compare themselves endlessly with others until they forget the strengths they already possess. The danger of doubt is not that it asks questions. The danger is that it convinces you there are no answers. When you allow doubt to become your permanent advisor, every opportunity begins to look like a risk instead of a possibility. Excuses are perhaps the most comfortable enemy because they rarely sound dishonest. They often contain a small amount of truth. You may indeed have less experience than someone else. You may have fewer resources or face greater responsibilities. But excuses become dangerous when they shift your attention away from what you can control. Every excuse is an invitation to surrender your power. The moment you begin explaining why something cannot be done, you stop searching for ways it can be accomplished. Progress belongs to those who spend more time creating solutions than collecting explanations. Your thoughts shape your actions long before your actions shape your results. Every decision begins as an idea. Every achievement begins as a belief that something is possible. Likewise, every missed opportunity often begins with a belief that success belongs to someone else. This is why protecting your mind is one of the greatest responsibilities you will ever have. If negative thinking becomes your daily habit, your actions will eventually reflect that habit. But if you train your mind to look for lessons instead of limitations, you gradually develop the resilience to keep moving even when life becomes difficult. No one becomes mentally strong overnight. Self-mastery is built through repeated victories over the small battles that most people ignore. It is choosing courage when fear demands retreat. It is choosing action when procrastination feels easier. It is choosing hope when disappointment tempts you to quit. These victories may appear insignificant in the moment, yet they quietly transform your identity. Every time you refuse to surrender to your own limitations, you strengthen the part of yourself that believes growth is always possible. There will always be voices around you offering opinions about what you should or should not attempt. Some will encourage you, while others may predict your failure before you even begin. Their words can influence you only if your inner voice is uncertain. When your mind is governed by clear purpose and steady discipline, outside criticism loses much of its power. A person who has learned to direct their own thinking is not easily controlled by the expectations or judgments of others. They understand that lasting confidence comes from honoring their own commitments, rather than seeking constant approval. The greatest victories in life are rarely visible at first. They happen when you decide that fear will no longer make your decisions, that doubt will no longer define your abilities, and that excuses will no longer determine your future. Once you begin winning those invisible battles within yourself, the obstacles in the outside world become challenges to overcome rather than reasons to stop. That is where true strength begins. And from that point forward, every step you take is guided not by your limitations, but by the person you are becoming. Many people spend their lives waiting for motivation to arrive before they take action. They tell themselves they will begin when they feel inspired, energetic, or confident enough. The problem with this approach is that motivation is unpredictable. It comes and goes like the weather. Some mornings you wake up excited and ready to conquer your goals, while other days even the simplest task feels overwhelming. If your progress depends on how you feel, your results will always be inconsistent. The people who achieve extraordinary things understand a simple truth: feelings are temporary, but discipline can become permanent. They do not ask themselves whether they feel like doing the work. They simply do what needs to be done, because they have trained themselves to honor their commitments rather than their emotions. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about being dependable. It means showing up when the excitement has faded, when the applause has disappeared, and when no one is watching. Anyone can work hard for a day or two after hearing an inspiring message or setting a new goal. The real difference appears after a few weeks, when the initial enthusiasm begins to fade. At that moment, discipline takes over where motivation leaves off. It becomes the invisible force that keeps you moving forward one step at a time, even when progress feels slow. Every successful life is built upon small actions repeated consistently. Reading a few pages every day may not seem significant, but over the course of a year, it becomes several books filled with knowledge and new perspectives. Exercising for 30 minutes each day may not transform your body overnight, but over time it builds strength, health, and confidence. Saving a small amount of money each week may appear insignificant in the beginning, yet it gradually creates financial security. Success rarely arrives because of one extraordinary effort. More often, it is the result of ordinary actions performed with extraordinary consistency. One of the greatest misunderstandings about discipline is that it limits freedom. In reality, discipline creates freedom. The disciplined student earns more opportunities because they prepared when others procrastinated. The disciplined professional enjoys greater career success because they developed valuable skills while others wasted time. The disciplined entrepreneur makes wiser decisions because they learn to control their impulses instead of chasing every distraction. Self-control does not reduce your options. It expands them. The more control you have over your habits, the more control you have over your future. Discipline also strengthens your confidence in a way that motivation never can. Confidence is not built by positive thinking alone. It grows every time you keep a promise to yourself. When you say you will wake up early and you do, you build trust in yourself. When you decide to finish an important project despite feeling tired, you prove that your determination is stronger than your excuses. Over time, these small victories create an unshakable belief that you can rely on yourself regardless of the circumstances. That kind of confidence cannot be taken away because it is earned through action rather than wishful thinking. There will always be distractions competing for your attention. Comfort will invite you to delay your goals. Entertainment will tempt you to trade long-term rewards for short-term pleasure. The easiest path is almost always the one that offers immediate satisfaction, but immediate satisfaction often comes at the cost of future success. Discipline teaches you to value tomorrow more than today's convenience. It reminds you that every decision is shaping the person you are becoming. Each time you choose purpose over comfort, you strengthen your ability to make the same choice again. The remarkable thing about discipline is that it becomes easier the more you practice it. At first, every positive habit requires effort. Waking up early feels difficult. Exercising requires determination. Studying demands concentration. But repetition slowly transforms effort into routine. What once felt uncomfortable eventually becomes natural. The habits that once required constant willpower become part of your identity. You no longer act with discipline because you are forcing yourself. You act that way because it has become who you are. Life will always present moments when motivation disappears completely. There will be days when you feel discouraged, exhausted, or uncertain about your progress. Those are the moments that reveal your true character. If you continue moving forward despite those feelings, you are no longer being guided by temporary emotion. You are being guided by principle. And a person whose actions are driven by principle, rather than emotion, becomes incredibly difficult to stop, because their progress no longer depends on how they feel. It depends on the standards they have chosen to live by. There is a powerful moment in every person's journey when they stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What can I do about it?" That single shift in thinking changes everything. As long as you believe your future is controlled by other people, bad luck, or difficult circumstances, you hand over the very power that could transform your life. The day you accept complete responsibility for your direction is the day you reclaim control over your destiny. Responsibility is not about blaming yourself for everything that has happened. It is about recognizing that your response to every situation is always your choice. Life is not always fair. Some people begin with more opportunities, greater financial resources, stronger support systems, or better education. Others must fight through obstacles that seem overwhelming. These differences are real, and pretending they do not exist serves no purpose. But while you cannot always choose your starting point, you can choose your attitude, your effort, and your willingness to grow. Your beginning may influence your journey, but it does not have to determine your destination. The future is shaped less by where you started, and more by the decisions you make every single day. Blame is one of the greatest enemies of progress because it provides temporary comfort while stealing long-term growth. It is easier to point at the economy, your family, your coworkers, or your past than it is to examine your own habits and choices. Blame gives you an explanation, but it rarely gives you a solution. It may help you feel justified for a moment, yet it leaves your circumstances unchanged. Growth begins the moment you stop asking who is responsible for your problems and start asking what responsibility you can take to improve your situation. Every decision, no matter how small, carries the power to shape your future. The books you choose to read, the conversations you participate in, the people you spend time with, and the habits you practice every day are quietly building the person you are becoming. Success is rarely the result of one dramatic decision. It is usually the accumulation of hundreds of responsible choices made consistently over time. Likewise, failure often begins with small acts of neglect repeated until they become a way of life. Your daily choices may seem insignificant, but together they create the direction of your entire life. Responsibility also means being honest with yourself. It requires the courage to admit when you have made mistakes instead of defending them. Pride often whispers that admitting failure is a sign of weakness, but the opposite is true. Only a strong person is willing to examine their own shortcomings without making excuses. Mistakes become valuable teachers when you accept them with humility. Every lesson you learn from failure makes you wiser, stronger, and better prepared for the opportunities ahead. The only true failure is refusing to learn. One of the most empowering truths in life is that you do not have to control everything to change your future. You only need to control the things that belong to you. You cannot control the opinions of others, but you can control your response to criticism. You cannot control unexpected setbacks, but you can control your determination to keep moving. You cannot control every opportunity that comes your way, but you can prepare yourself so thoroughly that when opportunity finally arrives, you are ready to seize it. Focusing on what you can influence gives you strength, while worrying about what you cannot control only drains your energy. Responsibility is also reflected in the promises you make to yourself. Every time you say you will begin tomorrow and fail to follow through, you weaken your trust in yourself. Every time you keep your word, even when it is difficult, you strengthen your character. Self-respect is built through consistency. The more you prove to yourself that your actions match your intentions, the more confidence you develop in your ability to handle life's challenges. That confidence cannot be borrowed from others. It must be earned through personal accountability. The people who make the greatest impact on the world are rarely those with perfect circumstances. They are the ones who refuse to let circumstances become permanent excuses. They understand that while they cannot rewrite yesterday, they have complete authority over today. Each sunrise presents another opportunity to make better choices, develop stronger habits, and become a wiser person than the day before. When you embrace responsibility in this way, you stop waiting for someone else to improve your life. You become the architect of your own future, building it one intentional decision at a time until your actions speak louder than any excuse ever could. The quality of your life is shaped not only by what happens to you, but by how you think about what happens to you. Two people can face the same disappointment and walk away with completely different futures. One allows the experience to become proof that life is unfair and success is impossible. The other chooses to see the same experience as a lesson, a source of strength, and a reason to improve. The difference is not found in the event itself. The difference is found in the mind that interprets it. If you learn to master your thoughts, you gain the ability to direct your life, instead of allowing circumstances to direct it for you. Your mind is constantly receiving information from the world around you. Every conversation, every challenge, every success, and every failure leaves an impression. If you are not careful, negative experiences begin to shape your thinking without your permission. A single criticism can overshadow 10 compliments. One mistake can make you question years of progress. One setback can tempt you to abandon a dream that still has great potential. This is why you must become the guardian of your own thoughts. You cannot prevent every negative idea from entering your mind, but you can decide which ideas deserve your attention and which ones should be dismissed before they take root. Thoughts become powerful because they influence emotions, and emotions often influence actions. When your thoughts are filled with fear, hesitation usually follows. When your thoughts are consumed by anger, your words often become careless. When your mind is overwhelmed by doubt, even simple decisions begin to feel impossible. But when your thoughts are guided by purpose, gratitude, and determination, your emotions gradually become steadier. You begin responding to challenges with wisdom rather than reacting out of frustration. Mastering your thoughts is not about pretending every situation is perfect. It is about refusing to let temporary emotions become permanent decisions. Emotions are valuable because they reveal what matters to you, but they should never become the leaders of your life. Feelings change from one moment to the next. You may feel confident today and uncertain tomorrow. You may feel excited in the morning and discouraged by evening. If every decision depends on your emotional state, your life will constantly move in different directions. A person who allows emotions to lead will often start many things but finish very few. A person who allows principles to lead remains steady regardless of changing feelings. They acknowledge their emotions without becoming controlled by them. There will be moments when anger seems justified. Someone may disappoint you, speak unfairly about you, or stand in the way of your progress. In those moments, your first reaction may be to respond immediately. Yet some of the greatest regrets in life come from words spoken in moments of uncontrolled emotion. Strength is not demonstrated by reacting quickly. Strength is demonstrated by pausing long enough to choose a response that reflects your character, rather than your frustration. A calm mind often solves problems that an angry mind only makes worse. The same is true when facing failure. Many people allow one disappointment to define their identity. They begin saying, "I failed, therefore I am a failure." But failure is an event, not a permanent description of who you are. Every mistake contains information that can improve your future if you are willing to learn from it. Instead of asking why something happened to you, ask what it can teach you. This simple habit transforms setbacks into stepping stones. It shifts your attention away from self-pity and towards self-improvement. Your environment also influences the condition of your mind. The people you spend time with, the books you read, the conversations you entertain, and the information you consume each day quietly shape your perspective. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, complaints, and hopelessness, it becomes difficult to think with confidence and clarity. But when you intentionally fill your mind with wisdom, encouraging ideas, meaningful conversations, and constructive challenges, your thinking gradually becomes stronger. A healthy mind, like a healthy body, grows through consistent nourishment. Mental mastery requires practice. It is not achieved by making one positive decision, but by making thousands of them. Every time you replace worry with preparation, resentment with forgiveness, fear with courage, or excuses with action, you strengthen your ability to remain composed under pressure. Over time, your thoughts become more disciplined, your emotions become more balanced, and your reactions become more intentional. Eventually, you reach a place where external chaos no longer creates internal confusion. Challenges may still arise, disappointments may still occur, and uncertainty may still appear, but your mind remains focused, your emotions remain under control, and your decisions continue moving you toward the person you have chosen to become. Every great life is built long before the world notices it. What people eventually call success is usually the visible result of countless invisible habits practiced in private. It is easy to admire someone's achievements while overlooking the daily routines that made those achievements possible. Behind every confident individual is a series of ordinary decisions repeated over and over again. They chose to wake up with purpose, to learn instead of making excuses, to keep their promises when no one was watching, and to improve themselves even when there was no immediate reward. Character is not formed in extraordinary moments alone. It is shaped by the quiet disciplines that become part of everyday life. Habits are powerful because they gradually become automatic. In the beginning, every positive action requires effort. Reading a book instead of watching television, exercising when your body wants rest, or working on your goals after a long day demands self-control. But repetition changes everything. What once felt difficult slowly becomes natural. The actions that required determination become part of your identity. Eventually, you no longer struggle to make the right choice because it has become the normal choice. This is why small daily habits often have a greater impact than occasional moments of intense effort. Many people underestimate the importance of small improvements because they expect dramatic results overnight. They want immediate transformation, instant confidence, or quick success. When those results fail to appear, they become discouraged and abandon the process. Yet nature teaches a different lesson. A tree does not become tall in a single season. A river does not carve through rock in one day. Strength develops through steady progress over time. The same principle applies to personal growth. Every page you read, every skill you practice, every healthy decision you make adds another small investment to your future. Individually, these actions seem insignificant, but together they create remarkable change. Your habits are shaping your future whether you realize it or not. Every repeated action is casting a vote for the type of person you are becoming. If you consistently choose learning, you become knowledgeable. If you consistently choose discipline, you become dependable. If you consistently choose honesty, you become trustworthy. On the other hand, if you repeatedly choose procrastination, comfort, or carelessness, those habits gradually become part of your character as well. Your future is not determined by your intentions alone. It is determined by the habits that fill your ordinary days. Character becomes most visible during difficult seasons. Anyone can remain positive when life is easy, but true character reveals itself when challenges appear. A person with strong habits does not abandon their principles simply because circumstances become uncomfortable. They continue doing what is right even when it requires sacrifice. They remain honest when dishonesty seems profitable. They stay committed when quitting appears easier. They remain patient when results are delayed. Their strength does not come from temporary emotions, but from values that have been reinforced through consistent practice. One of the greatest benefits of building strong habits is that they reduce the influence of temptation. When positive behavior becomes routine, you spend less energy debating whether you should do the right thing. You simply do it because it has become part of who you are. The disciplined person does not rely on endless willpower. They create routines that make success more likely and failure less attractive. They understand that environment, preparation, and consistency often matter more than occasional bursts of determination. Continuous self-improvement is another habit that separates extraordinary individuals from ordinary ones. The wisest people never believe they have learned enough. They remain curious, open-minded, and eager to grow. They understand that every conversation can teach a lesson, every mistake can reveal wisdom, and every challenge can strengthen their abilities. Instead of fearing change, they welcome it because they know growth requires constant refinement. The moment a person believes they no longer need to improve is often the moment they begin falling behind. Patience is an essential companion to strong habits. Many worthwhile achievements require months or even years before the results become visible. During that time, it is easy to question whether your efforts are making any difference. But every disciplined action is creating progress beneath the surface. Just as a foundation is laid before a building rises, your habits are constructing the strength that future success will stand upon. When you remain faithful to the process, even without immediate recognition, you develop a character that cannot be shaken by setbacks or distracted by shortcuts. Over time, those habits transform not only what you accomplish, but also the person you become, allowing you to face life's greatest challenges with confidence, integrity, and unwavering determination. Every person dreams of reaching a place where life becomes easier, where obstacles disappear and every effort produces immediate results. Yet the truth is that every meaningful journey includes resistance. Challenges are not signs that you are moving in the wrong direction. More often, they are evidence that you are growing. The road to becoming your strongest self is not free from difficulty. It is shaped by it. Every obstacle you face carries within it the opportunity to develop qualities that comfort could never teach. Strength is not created in moments of ease. It is forged in moments when you choose to keep moving despite the weight of adversity. Most people see obstacles as walls that prevent progress. They stop at the first sign of difficulty and assume the path is no longer meant for them. But successful people develop a different perspective. They understand that obstacles are not there to stop them permanently. They are there to test whether their commitment is genuine. Every challenge asks a simple question: how badly do you want the future you are pursuing? Your answer is never given through words. It is given through your willingness to continue when the journey becomes uncomfortable. Failure is one of life's greatest teachers, but only for those who are willing to learn from it. Too many people allow one disappointment to define their entire future. They experience rejection once and conclude they are not good enough. They attempt something difficult, fall short, and decide they were never meant to succeed. Yet failure is not a verdict on your potential. It is information. It reveals weaknesses that need strengthening, habits that need changing, and strategies that need improving. Every mistake contains a lesson, but only those with humble hearts are willing to receive it. Imagine someone learning to build a house. If the first foundation cracks, they do not abandon the dream of becoming a builder. They examine what went wrong, improve their technique, and begin again with greater knowledge. Life works the same way. Every setback provides experience that cannot be gained through success alone. Wisdom is often earned through difficulties that initially seem unfair. Looking back, Many people discover that the experiences they once wished to avoid became the very events that prepared them for their greatest achievements. Rejection is another obstacle that discourages countless dreams. Everyone desires acceptance, approval, and encouragement. Yet there will always be people who misunderstand your vision or underestimate your abilities. If you depend upon universal approval before taking action, you will spend your life waiting. Remember that another person's opinion reflects their perspective, not your potential. You cannot allow temporary criticism to become a permanent limitation. Continue improving yourself, continue refining your skills, and let your results speak louder than the doubts surrounding you. Difficult seasons also reveal the strength of your character. Anyone can remain positive when everything is going according to plan. Real maturity appears when plans fall apart. Can you remain patient when progress is slow? Can you continue working when recognition is absent? Can you maintain integrity when shortcuts promise quicker rewards? These moments separate those who are merely interested in success from those who are truly committed to growth. Character is not built by avoiding hardship. It is built by responding to hardship with wisdom, patience, and determination. One of the greatest dangers during difficult times is the temptation to quit too soon. Progress is often invisible before it becomes obvious. Just as seeds grow beneath the soil, long before they break through the surface. Personal growth frequently happens where no one can see it. Every disciplined effort, every lesson learned from failure, and every obstacle overcome is strengthening you in ways that will eventually become visible. Those who quit early rarely realize how close they were to their breakthrough. Persistence often makes the difference between unrealized potential and lasting success. Every challenge also offers an opportunity to discover abilities you never knew you possessed. Courage is not developed when everything feels safe. Patience is not developed when everything happens immediately. Resilience is not developed without disappointment. These qualities emerge only when life requires them. What first appears to be an obstacle may actually be preparing you for responsibilities greater than anything you have imagined. Instead of asking why the challenge has appeared, begin asking what strength it is inviting you to develop. As you continue your journey, you will come to realize that obstacles are not your greatest enemies. Giving up is. Every setback you overcome adds another layer of confidence, because you begin to trust your ability to endure. The mountain that once looked impossible becomes a reminder of how far you have climbed. The failure that once caused pain becomes a lesson you are grateful to have learned. Over time, the very obstacles that threaten to stop you become the stones beneath your feet, lifting you higher than you could have ever reached. If the path had been easy from the beginning, many people spend their lives chasing success without first becoming the kind of person who can sustain it. They search for better opportunities, higher income, greater recognition, or faster results, believing these things will finally bring fulfillment. Yet lasting success has always been an inside-out process. Before the world rewards you with greater responsibility, it quietly asks a more important question. Have you become the person capable of handling it? Position without character is fragile. Achievement without wisdom is temporary. Real success follows those who dedicate themselves to becoming stronger within before seeking greater rewards without. Your greatest project in life is not building a business, earning a fortune, or gaining admiration. Your greatest project is building yourself. Every skill you develop, every lesson you learn, and every challenge you overcome shapes the person who faces tomorrow. Success may improve your circumstances, but personal growth improves your ability to create success again and again. Circumstances can change overnight, but the qualities you build within yourself remain wherever you go. That is why investing in your character always produces the greatest return. Integrity is one of the most valuable qualities you can possess. It means your actions remain consistent with your values even when no one is watching. It is easy to appear honest when honesty is convenient. True integrity reveals itself when dishonesty seems profitable, but you refuse to compromise your principles. A person with integrity builds trust naturally because people know their words and actions align. Trust opens doors that talent alone cannot open. Opportunities often flow toward individuals whose character gives others confidence in their reliability. Another quality that cannot be overlooked is humility. As you grow, there will always be more to learn. The moment you believe you know everything is the moment your growth begins to slow. Humility keeps your mind open. It allows you to accept correction without resentment, to learn from people regardless of their position, and to recognize that every experience contains a lesson. The strongest individuals are often those who remain lifelong students. They understand that wisdom is not measured by how much they already know, but by how willing they are to continue learning. Perseverance is equally essential. There will be seasons when your efforts seem unnoticed and your progress appears invisible. During those moments, Many people become discouraged because they expect immediate rewards. Yet the greatest achievements are usually delayed. They require patience, consistent effort, and unwavering commitment. The person who continues working with excellence, while others become impatient, is often the one who eventually rises above the crowd. Perseverance transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary accomplishment, because it refuses to surrender when success takes longer than expected. Your reputation is built one decision at a time. Every promise you keep strengthens it. Every responsibility you fulfill adds to it. Every challenge you face with maturity reinforces it. Over time, people begin to recognize not only what you can do, but also who you are. While skills may earn attention, character earns lasting respect. People naturally seek to work with, support, and trust those whose conduct consistently reflects honesty, discipline, and responsibility. Becoming a person of strong character creates opportunities that cannot be forced through ambition alone. There is also great power in serving others. Many people believe success is measured only by personal gain, but lasting influence comes from creating value in the lives of those around you. When your knowledge helps someone grow, when your encouragement restores someone's confidence, or when your example inspires another person to improve, your life gains a significance far beyond personal achievement. The people remembered most are rarely those who accumulated the most for themselves. They are those who consistently contributed to the growth and well-being of others. As you continue developing yourself, you begin to notice a remarkable change. Challenges no longer intimidate you, as they once did, because your confidence is no longer based on temporary success. It is based on the person you have become. You trust your discipline because you have practiced it daily. You trust your judgment because you have learned from past mistakes. You trust your resilience because life has already tested it many times. This kind of confidence cannot be purchased or borrowed. It is earned through years of intentional growth and faithful persistence. Eventually, there comes a point where external obstacles lose much of their power over you. Difficult circumstances may still arise, criticism may still come, and unexpected setbacks may still appear, but they no longer determine your direction. Your purpose is stronger than distraction, your discipline is stronger than comfort, and your character is stronger than temptation. You have become someone who responds instead of reacts, who persists instead of complains, and who grows instead of gives up. When you reach that point, success is no longer something you desperately chase. It naturally begins to move toward the person you have worked so hard to become, because nothing is more difficult to stop than an individual who has first learned to master themselves.